This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it was quick. Matt Gaetz is out. Pam Bondi's in. Yet another smart, independent woman who will be advising, who will be working with Donald Trump. Good pick, good choice. I didn't think it would happen so quickly. I think some conservatives, some Republicans are disappointed to see Gaetz go. I am disappointed to see Gaetz go, mainly because I was looking forward to the confirmation hearings and watching Gaetz do battle with all these career politicians, point out that they make stock trades with inside information and just giving it right back to them. It would have been entertaining, I'll be honest. But let's face it, Matt Gaetz was a controversial pick. It was not going to be easy. In fact, it wasn't going to be possible. Gaetz was facing opposition from his own party. We have some squishes in the Republican Party. They don't have those in the Democrat Party. They don't vote against their nominees. As Tommy Tuberville pointed out, when he took the floor in the Senate, he held up a big sign with a 0 on it. That's the number of Democrats who voted against Joe Biden's nominees. They don't do that. They don't have Susan Collinses and Mitt Romneys and Lisa Murkowski's in their ranks, at least not anymore. Joe Manchin's gone. Kristen Sinema's gone. They don't have to worry about these cowards like Collins and Mitch McConnell. And I think that was the big problem. I know some people are theorizing that this was 3D chess, 4D chess by Donald Trump, knowing that Gaetz wouldn't make it, and it would make it easier for his other picks, and it'll make it really easy for Pam Bondi, who will coast through her confirmation hearings, and Gaetz will take on some other role. He will not be appointed senator by Ron DeSantis. He could return to his seat. He quit Congress for this session, not for the next one, which he was elected to, so he could return to Congress. That'll be interesting. And I still feel the joy. We're still having fun. Most of these picks will make it. Some of them, it'll be slam dunk. Marco Rubio and Mike Walls and Lee Stefanik. RFK Jr. is going to be interesting. But I think I have to start with some bad news today for MAGA Nation. Pete Hegseth isn't going to make it, folks. He is not. I love the pick. I love his service to our country. I think he is exactly what the Department of Defense needs, an outsider, a guy who is fearless, who's a leader, who knows where the bodies are buried and would go in there and shake things up. And all the fat cats, the Mark Millies, the next Mark Milley, and those types, the military industrial complex would hate Pete Hegseth. But I don't see how he makes it. I don't see how he goes before the Senate and gets the votes from the likes of Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitch McConnell, for that matter. You think Gaetz had some issues? I think Pete Hegseth has very similar issues. And I got to ask you, if he goes before the Senate and they just bring up his personal life, his sordid history with women, you think that's going to hurt? You think some of these moderates, these squishes, are going to stand by Pete Hegseth when they start talking about his sordid personal life? I mean, we know what the media is going to do. The media is done with Gaetz for the most part. The media is going to train their guns on Pete Hegseth. For the next 2 months, we are going to hear nothing but Hegseth the Hound. Let's be honest. He's not the most discreet guy when it comes to his personal life. It's disappointing, to be honest with you. I mean, the guy is such a stud. He was a good soldier, literally. He's smart as hell. He's got 2 Ivy League degrees. He was good on TV. He is a articulate guy. He's a brilliant guy. He knows the military. He knows veterans, but he also can't keep it in his pants. I mean, I know, I know that shouldn't be disqualifying, but you tell me if they go before the Senate and they start talking about his three marriages, um, talking about how he had a relation with a Fox employee while he was married and impregnated her. You think that's going to maybe affect how Susan Collins votes, how Lisa Murkowski votes? I mean, he's not going to get a single Democrat. That won't happen. There's no Joe Manchin uh, on the Judiciary Committee. That ain't going to happen. So he needs all the Republicans, or at least he can only have three who bail on him. I can tell you right now, there'll be at least three. There'll be more than three. And I'm sorry, I don't think he's going to make it to that point. I think they're going to Gates him. The issue, the big issue he has is a one night in Monterey, California in 2017. This doesn't look good. I'm sorry. It just doesn't look good when your defense is that you were really drunk and you had while your wife was home with your newborn, a one night stand with a person who was supposed to be laying out, escorting you around this event. He was a featured speaker, and she was his handler. She's now known as Jane Doe because she accused him of rape. Did he rape her? No, I don't think so. Megyn Kelly did a deep dive on this. She's a lawyer. She went through the police report. I did too. It is ugly, the police report. I don't think they didn't charge him for a reason. Her story is got some holes in it, but it doesn't make him look good. In fact, it makes him look terrible. And as I said yesterday with Gates, they have much more to work with Gates, doesn't matter anymore, but with Hegseth than they ever had on Brett Kavanaugh. They almost buried Brett Kavanaugh with a completely made up story of sexual assault. Completely made up. It didn't happen. It never happened. Christine Blasey Ford made it up. I am 100% convinced, and you are too, if you read about it. It didn't happen. And they came this close to ending the man's career, to destroying him. They accused him of sexual assault when he was a kid in high school. Her story her story was a joke. She didn't know when it happened, where it happened. No one backed her up. There were no police reports with Brett Kavanaugh, and there was a 50-48 vote in the Senate. He almost lost. I can remember watching the hearings and thinking he's done. He kept a journal of every day when he was in high school of what he did. I mean, he was a victim. He was innocent, and they came so close to just destroying him because that's what they do. That's what the media does. That's what the Democrats do. And again, there are more Republicans this time. There are 53, thankfully. And I can tell you right now, he's getting Collins and Murkowski. So you get one more, and it's 50-50. You get two more, and he's done. And what they're going to do for the next 2 months is talk about this night in Monterey, California. This is from Mediaite. They have the police report if you'd like to see it. PDF. It's 20 pages long. There's a lot of redacted names, but it's just not good. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. Here it is. A police report on the allegation of sexual assault against Pete Hegseth, the Fox News star nominated by Donald Trump to serve as Secretary of Defense, was obtained by Mediaite, and it contains graphic details of the 2017 encounter. The report previously released Hegseth in March of 2021, so he knew
Be back in 1 minute. Good.
Good. That's what happens when you have a PDF open on your screen. A little technical difficulty here, but back to the report. Tim Parlator, that's Hegseth's attorney, vehemently denied the assault when it was first reported last week. That's fine. You read it and you see why they didn't bring charges, but it doesn't make them look good. Let's be honest. And this is what they use. This is what they will go to if he goes before the Senate, and they'll bring Jane Doe out, even though she's a Republican, even though her story didn't hold up. But he took her to her room, and they have the details of what they did and where and how he finished, and it's just not good. It's not good. And you can talk all about, I'll talk all about what a great soldier he was, what a stud he is. They don't need his tattoos anymore. They're moved on from the tattoos. Now they have this guy with his third wife at home with his newborn, having his way with a woman. Now she says he blocked the door, took her phone. The cops tried to get her to set him up, to make a phone call and get him to confess, and she refused. So she didn't do that, and they decided not to bring charges. But and she also waited a week to bring charges. Her husband was in the same hotel. He was down the hall with her kids when she went to his room for this one night stand. Now, again, not rape, not criminal, no charges. You think that's going to stop Democrats from calling her as a witness or calling others who were there, talking about how drunk he was? He was belligerent to hotel employees. That again shouldn't be disqualifying. When you have Bill Clinton and so many others. And I remember when they told us, it was just sex. It's his personal life. Yes, this is his personal life, but there's no rule against them bringing it up in the hearing. So I don't expect Pete Hegseth to last, at least until he won't even last till the hearing. I hate to say it. There'll be someone else. We will move on. He'll get most of his choices. The RFK Jr. hearings will be fascinating. Hell, if they want to get into someone's personal life, he's had a pretty wild personal life himself. So I look forward to those hearings, and hopefully some Republicans stand up, but they are not going to stand up for Pete Hegseth, sadly. Maybe the next guy will be similar. Maybe he'll be someone from outside, an outsider who wasn't a general, who didn't work in the Pentagon, who wasn't on board of directors. But I just hope the next guy has more discipline in his private life than Pete Hegseth. And everybody his co-hosts on Fox and people he served with speak highly of him. But they're going to pull out this police report in the Senate hearing. You saw what they did to Kavanaugh. There's no decorum. There's no holding back. The number one goal for Democrats in the Senate, in the House, in the media is destroy everybody around Trump, everybody they can. and they have something to work with Pete Hegseth, sadly, unfortunately. And maybe the next nominee will be a woman, because they can't do this. They won't do this to women. Hell, most women, don't have this kind of these kind of peccadillos. And Pam Bondi, she's been divorced, I believe, at least once, a couple of times, and maybe it'll bring up her personal life, but I don't think they will succeed. I think she will be confirmed, and I think she will be a terrific attorney general. And Matt Gaetz will serve Trump in some other form, whether it's in the House or in the media or somewhere. The firebrand isn't going away, but you just can't expect these rhinos, these squishes, to stand up if they're being pressured by the media. That's what people like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, that's what they care about the most. They don't want to be lumped in with the MAGA crowd. So you need them, and you're just not going to get them with Pete Hegseth. I am enjoying we're one day into Pam Bondi's time in the firing line. I'm enjoying it. On MSNBC, they're already conceding she's dangerous. Why? Because she's good. She's good at her job, and she will do probably the same things Matt Gaetz was going to do. She will make the hacks and the bureaucrats embedded in the DOJ. They're nervous. Maybe not quite as nervous as they were at the thought of Matt Gaetz coming for them, but she is going to come for them too. She is going to do the job, the same job. She has the same goals as Matt Gaetz. Do we have the MSNBC panel discussing this? I love this. I love when they say, we hate her, she's dangerous, but you know what? She's good at her job, and we probably can't stop her. Watch this.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Yeah, and I want to discuss that.
Dangerous and effective. That should be her Twitter bio. Dangerous and effective. You know what that means? That means we can't stop her. We can't Kavanaugh her. That's the goal with all the nominees. If you're a Democrat, if you're a member of the media, if you're on MSNBC, how do we stop them? They can't stop her. And maybe Trump knew this all along. Maybe he knew Gaetz was a long shot. Maybe he knew this would make it easier for his next nominee, make it easier for all his nominees. They can't stop them all, but they can stop Gaetz, and they will stop Hegseth, sadly, unfortunately. But I don't know. I guess I should have no sympathy for him. He made his bed. He laid down in it with a woman who's not his wife. And now he's going to pay the price. And it's going to be interesting to see if he even makes it to the confirmation hearings. I have my doubts. All right, we got so much more to get to on this Friday. 59 days left. We have 59 days for Joe Biden to start a nuclear war. 59 days for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to bring in as many illegal aliens as they can. And they're doing it. They're making it easier. They're working hard to flood our country with many, many more illegals. We have an answer to the question: what are these blue state governors, mayors, these blue state elected officials? What are they going to do when Tom Homan shows up in their community with the express purpose of removing the worst of the worst, the Jose Ibarras? They are coming for them, and the blue state governors, like Maura Healey in Massachusetts, they have a plan. They have a plan to stop the federal government from removing illegal alien rapists. We will tell you about that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
Want a better way to simplify finance operations for your business across expenses, vendor payments, and accounting? If so, Ramp could be a complete game changer. Ramp is the corporate card and spend management software designed to help you save time and put money back in your pocket. Ramp's accounting software automatically collects receipts and categorizes your expenses in real time so you don't have to. You'll never have to chase down a receipt again, and your employees will no longer spend hours submitting expense reports. Businesses that use Ramp save an average of 5% the first year, and Ramp is easy to use. Get started, issue virtual and physical cards, and start making payments in less than 15 minutes, whether you have 5 employees or 5,000. And now you can get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Gerry. That's RAMP.com/Gerry. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Again, get $250 when you join Ramp. Go to ramp.com/Gerry. There's so much to look forward to. I mean, again, I don't want to be a downer here. He's going to get most of his picks through the Senate. The latest Polymarket odds, interesting, from Corey. Pete Hegseth is at 57%. I'm betting no. I'm betting against that. Tulsi Gabbard, 66. RFK Jr., 72. We'll see. Gabbard's in. I don't think they're going to be able to get her as a Russian puppet. A person who's now listed in the U.S. military, a Russian puppet. All the rest of the nominees are at 89% or better. That's good. That's good. They will. Most of them will sail through. Liz Warren tweeted out after Gates withdrew, 1 down. That's all she wrote. 1 down. That's the goal, to get them all. At some point, you have to fill those positions, and I hope we have some fun hearings. And like I said, RFK is going to be wild. Tulsi will be good. She knows what she's doing. She's going to fight back, and she's going to win, I think. And I'm looking forward to that. But I don't think I'm looking forward to anything more than the great Tom Homan starting to remove the worst of the worst. He's coming for the next Jose Ibarras, the monster who murdered Lake and Riley. We'll get to the MSNBC coverage of that, which is just mind-blowing. But I want to do this. He is going to show up in these blue states because that's where the bad guys are. As we've gone over every day, that's where they find sanctuary. Yes, in Massachusetts, the government, the governor, the state police, the mayors, they've all made it clear they're going to do what they can to protect the next Jose Ibarra. Why wouldn't you go to Massachusetts if you were an illegal alien rapist or drug dealer or convicted murderer? You go where they're going to protect you. So naturally, they're going to go to Massachusetts, and there's going to be a showdown. And it's good versus evil, good guys versus bad guys. Tom Homan is the good guy. He's there to protect the innocent people in the community and remove the worst of the worst. So Jess Machado is a reporter from Fall River, New Bedford. She does a terrific job covering the illegal alien invasion in Massachusetts. Just a great job daily of pointing out how much it costs and who's in our communities. She writes yesterday, she tweets, sources with direct access to Massachusetts migrants believe the Healy administration will begin to move migrants in large hotels to small housing locations to, quote, spread out migrants in an effort to thwart the incoming Trump administration from gathering large groups to deport at one time. Sources say they believe these moves will begin within the next few weeks. So you have your government, your governor, your elected officials working hard to hide illegal alien criminals from the federal government. And Homan has made it clear, you can't stop us. We're going to do our job. If it means he has to double the number of agents, ICE agents, he sends into your community, he will do that. He will do what it takes. And it is just, it's infuriating. It is mind-blowing to think your governor, your state police are not going to help. They're not going to work to get the next Jose Ibarra out of your community. You know what's going to happen? They're coming anyway. And you know who they're coming for? Rapists, murderers, drug dealers. And your local elected officials are going to side with the rapists. That's what's going to happen in January on day one. They're coming to Massachusetts on day one, to New York, to Chicago, to LA. And it's going to be a showdown. And Homan's going to win. And you know who else is going to win? The innocent people who don't want rapists in their communities, who don't want their daughter, their wife, to end up like Lake and Riley, or end up like the 15-year-old disabled girl in a Rockland hotel, migrant hotel, or the 7-year-old on Nantucket, raped repeatedly by an illegal alien, put in the hospital by an illegal alien. They're coming for those guys, and the governor is going to try to stop them. And I'll be curious to see how the cops handle it. There's no way the cops don't want to help Tom Homan, don't want to help Trump remove these people. That's what they voted for. Not in Massachusetts, but in this country. They voted for this. And right now, you know what the guys are doing, the bad guys? They're going to Massachusetts. They're going to Chicago. They're going where they know they will be protected. What an insane circumstance we're in right now. It's just madness. And I feel like we're winning. I feel like people are waking up. That's the good news. Not everybody. I mean, the media is going to tell you about mass deportations and concentration camps and abuelas and kids being separated from their families. I haven't heard anybody the last couple of days talk about family separation. Maybe it's because of Lake and Riley's family, who were separated from their lovely daughter forever. If you thought you hated the mainstream media enough, you don't. If you thought you had no respect for them, you give them too much respect. Here is an actual headline on an MSNBC story by a legal analyst. It's still up. I just checked. This is a story on the webpage, on MSNBC's website right now. Here's your headline. Lake and Riley's killer never stood a chance. I'll say it again. Lake and Riley's killer never stood a chance. It's a story about how the killer, Jose Ibarra, was obviously guilty. He chose for some reason not to go before jury, to go before a judge. The judge took about a minute and a half to reach a verdict on all 10 counts, guilty on all 10 counts. And he took about another 10 minutes to sentence him to life, concurrent sentences guilty on all counts. He's going to spend his life in prison, no chance of parole. Obviously, that is too good for him. Obviously, we should put this animal down. That's the only just and moral outcome here. This monster should have faced the death penalty, but a woke DA, a Soros DA, took it off the table, the death penalty, because, let me get that word again, the wording, because according to DA Deborah Gonzalez, who lost in November, she's no longer the DA, but she was when this case came before her. She said the death penalty would, quote, cause collateral consequences to undocumented defendants. Yes, undocumented defendants. There might be some collateral consequences if you put this savage to death. And MSNBC wants you to know, at least the headline writer wants you to know that the poor guy never stood a chance. Now they're getting absolutely ratioed for this insanity by everyone. Someone typed that. Someone hit send on that headline that the killer never stood a chance. I'm sorry. I thought that was Lake and Riley. who never stood a chance against this fat piece of shit who just saw her jogging, and he was out in a hunt for women, and he tried to rape her, and he killed her, and he bashed her head in with a rock after an 18-minute struggle. I thought she was the one who never stood a chance, but no. The legal analyst at MSNBC said he never stood a chance because, the evidence was just too much. He just never stood a chance. What was he supposed to stand a chance? Mr. Legal Analyst? I'm going to get that up. I want his name again. Let me get his name. I got to get his name. I should point out that the guy who wrote the piece is and it's not his fault that they wrote that headline, but the piece is all about how, there really wasn't much of a case. He didn't really have a chance to defend himself. Maybe that's because he left his fingerprints there, because he's guilty as hell. Could that have been the reason the poor guy never stood a chance? Mr. Legal Analyst, what? Dave Spalos, NBC legal analyst. I'll just read the lead. Jose Ibarra was convicted of multiple counts of murder in the February killing of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. Ibarra was immediately sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, along with other consecutive sentences. Oh, I love this. Riley's murder became a political rallying cry at this summer's Republican National Convention. Yes, the public seized on the murder of an innocent nursing student. It became a lightning rod. As the NBC analyst pointed out yesterday, they stuck their flag in the ground in Athens, Georgia. Not a guy who was flown into the country by Joe Biden committed an unspeakable crime against an innocent American. No, it was a rallying cry. Republicans seized, and Jose Ibarra never stood a chance. Remarkable. That is still up on the website. You do not hate these people enough. Nobody. I mean, the good news is MSNBC is failing wildly, and Comcast is selling it. And you want the real tough news today? I mean, this is bad. Rachel Maddow took a $5 million pay cut. She's now only making $25 million a year. She was making $30 million a year. These people live in a bubble. How does that make any sense? Does anybody? I mean, not many people are watching MSNBC now, but how does that make any financial sense for Comcast to pay Rachel Maddow $20? She works like one day a week. And they don't know what to do. They're irrelevant now. Twitter is the one source, and they're losing their minds. They don't know what to do. What are we going to do? We're not relevant anymore, as Joe Scarborough said to Mike Barnacle yesterday. And Stephanie Rule, just another one of these people who probably makes, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 million. And she wants to know, what are we going to do? They're being mean to us on Twitter. They're not listening. They're not watching us anymore. They're just getting on X and getting all their news from icky people. Do we have Stephanie Rule?
Elon Musk bought X and turned it into the social media arm of the MAGA movement. And we all sat there right in the middle of it during the campaign, possibly not realizing that we're sitting there like fat chickens, just getting attacked all day and just being part of this MAGA messaging. However, the election's over. Everybody's getting smarter and better. I'm not sure that the right idea is to leave Twitter and just go to Blue Sky, a friendlier place, because then we remain in our echo chambers. I don't think that you should necessarily stay in Twitter every day and battle it out and let yourself doom scroll of all the hate coming at you. But I want to see it. I want to read what's happening there, right? And so I think at least staying in those spaces is important because I want to hear the other things.
Eddie, what are you going to do? Go to Blue Sky? Go to Blue Sky. Oh, Elon Musk is their worst nightmare. He's a champion of free speech. They hate free speech. They liked it better when Twitter worked with the federal government, worked with the FBI to censor voices that they didn't like, to censor critics, just like Facebook and Instagram, where you can't say Rachel Levine is a man. That would get you banned on old Twitter. Not anymore. It's open to everybody, and they can't stand it. They can't stand the fact that people are getting their news from podcasts. They hate Joe Rogan, even though he was a Democrat, but till about 3 days ago, they can't stand him. You know what they want to know now? Who's our Joe Rogan? Who can be our Joe Rogan? I got news for you. You don't have anybody. That's why there's no successful liberal talk radio, because you can't just blurt out, 1 minute screeds on a podcast or on a radio show the way they do on MSNBC or CNN. It's not just little snippets like you get from Stephanie Rule. Rogan goes for 3 hours. Do you know any liberal who could do that? They tried it. They had Air America. That was their answer to Rush Limbaugh. It failed miserably. I remember it. They tried Mario Cuomo. They thought he was going to be the answer. Alan Dershowitz, back when he was a good liberal. And it didn't work because you can't do it. You can't maintain a 3-hour conversation or a 3-hour talk radio show. They operate on emotion. Emotion only gets you so far. Eventually you have to have some substance, which is what Joe Rogan has, and Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. They have substance. They have brains. They can do it for hours at a time. You think Stephanie Rule or Mika or Chris Hayes or Jake Tapper could do a 3-hour show off the cuff, debating, arguing, taking calls? Not possible. They don't have an answer to Joe Rogan or any of the right-wingers who are having a great time on X. And you know what else is going to be fun? Watching these people over the next 2, 3, 6 months. They're going to take pay cuts. They're going to get fired like Chris Wallace. Their ratings are going to continue to plummet because they got nothing. Once you get past the Trump hate and Trump's a racist, Trump's a dictator, Hitler. Once you get past that, they got nothing. They got no substance. They can't do it. They just can't do it. And they're all going to be getting haircuts. They're going to be getting pay cuts, and they're going to get canceled, and it's going to be fun to watch. All right, you know who else is going to get a pay cut or we're going to get fired? The director of marketing for Jaguar. We talked about this insane new ad that Jaguar, a car company, put out, just the wokest, silliest thing ever. We know who's behind it now. The woman who was behind the Bud Light thing, I think her name was Scheidenheiner, something like that. She was out in her ass as a matter of weeks after she cost the company billions. This guy is going to be looking for a job soon. We will tell you about the director of marketing, the brains behind the worst. It's worse than the Bud Light ad. I think it's the worst ad ever made, and it's for a car company. Oh, and Joe Biden welcomed the balls to the White House. Yes, the Boston Celtics, NBA champs, went to visit Joe Biden, and he forgot who they were. What else would you expect from Joe in his final days? We'll play that for you and more. But first.
Excuse me.
Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. Do you wake up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, or ringing in your ears from grinding and clenching your teeth at night? I've been through this. It's fairly common, and dentists charge $600 for a bruxism night guard. Many people are now discovering the Brux Night Guard. Unlike regular night guards that go all the way to the back of the teeth, Brux Night Guard only covers the front teeth. This unique design is what sets Brux Night Guard apart from all other guards. It only covers the front teeth, so the bite force is directed away from the back, where many people grind and clench to help reduce jaw pain and still protect the teeth. You mold it at home to the top and bottom teeth. And unlike other guards, it is made in America and uses two materials for added durability. Order a Brux Night Guard today and use the code MAX22 to get 10% off plus free shipping. Go to bruxnightguard.com and enter the code word MAX22. I know a lot of people are saying that Jose Ibarra is going to get shanked in prison. I'm not so optimistic. I know I would love to see someone Whitey Bulger him. They beat Whitey Bulger to death in prison with a bag full of locks, like heavy metal locks, and just bludgeoned him. That was justice. I would love to see that happen to Jose Ibarra. I unfortunately think it's going to go the other way. He's a gang member. He's a killer. He knew he was going to end up in prison at some point. I think he's going to be perfectly comfortable there. He's going to be among his own kind. And if you can thrive in prison, I think he will. He'll be a badass leader of a bunch of other gang members. And unfortunately, we'll be paying to house and feed him for the next 50, 60 years. That is not justice. All right. You know what? We'll get to Jaguar. We got to get to Biden first, though. We're going to miss this guy. I'm telling you, we're going to miss. He hosted the Boston Celtics, who won the NBA championship, their 18th NBA title back in June. And he's got a teleprompter. It's one team, not that many guys. It's an NBA team. They're all really tall, too. You think he would think this is NBA, but I'm pretty sure while looking at the teleprompter, he forgot who he was supposed to be honoring. This is just classic Joe Biden. Go ahead.
Well, welcome to the White House. I didn't know any of these guys behind me, but they just showed up. I don't know where the hell they came from. 2024 NBA champions, the Bulls. You're Celtics, right? The Boston Celtics.
Was that Bulls? Bulls or balls? What did he say? Bulls or balls?
I think he went to say Bulls and then realized that wasn't right and just said balls.
Yeah, and while he's doing this, we are inching closer to nuclear war. No big deal. This senile old fool, 82-year-old guy who wasn't very smart to begin with, is just so gone. And we have 59 days to go. And he's got two goals in the next 59 days. Escalate the war in Ukraine and bring in as many illegals as he can. And then we will be done with him. They can fumigate the Oval Office before Trump returns, and he will go off into obscurity. But he's going to do some damage. I'm sorry. He's going to do some damage. All right, let's get to the Jaguar guy. This story is amazing. It's just gone viral. We played the ad yesterday. It's just so bizarre. It's a bunch of, I don't know what, non-binary folks in bizarre costumes. It looks like some bad music video, just overdone. There's no cars in the commercial. There's no winding roads along the coast. There's no songs. There's no speaking. There's just no words. It is just so bad. And like with Bud Light, we ask, whose idea was that? Who thought that was a good idea? This is a struggling luxury car company whose customer base, I'm going to just guess, is wealthy white guys. That's who buys Jaguars. And apparently they're not buying enough of them. So they decide to just go completely off the rails with their ad campaign. And you're thinking, how does a car company executive greenlight Such a stupid, weird, ineffective ad. And then we found out the director of marketing explains his approach to, selling cars. Here he is.
And at Jaguar, we're passionate about our people, and we're committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and unified culture that is representative not only of the people who use our products, but in a society in which we all live, a culture where our employees can bring their authentic selves to work. And we're on a transformative journey of our own, driven by a belief in diversity, inclusion, creativity, policy, and most importantly, action. We've established over 15 DEI groups such as Pride, who are here tonight in the back. Thank you guys for coming. Women in Engineering and Neurodiversity Matters. We've launched major policy revisions such as transitioning at work to drive equity and support for our communities, embracing individuality as our superpower. And only 2 weeks ago, we held our second global annual DEI summit where we had over 10,000 employees from around the globe attend.
What is he wearing?
This journey is going to continue.
It looks like a mesh shirt like you used to wear at football practice in the 80s.
Yeah, that's right. He's written the throwaway. His name is Santino Petrosanti, the UK brand director for Jaguar Land Rover. And he's a car company executive, and he's bragging that they have 15 different DEI groups in the company that makes cars and sells cars. See, here's the other great shift we're seeing. People are getting a good look at DEI, and they are rejecting it out of hand. It is just, it's antithetical to what a good free market is supposed to emphasize. And they're supposed to be selling cars and making money and serving their customers. How does having 15 DEI groups in one car company help make cars or sell cars? How does this clown help the company? He's going to be out of a job any minute now, I think, which is a good thing. But think of the power he had. He made that commercial. He spent the company's money for that ridiculous commercial, and he's bragging about it. Neurodiversity, what does that even mean? They don't have any is that diversity of thought? There's no neurodiversity in DEI. Just the opposite. They don't care what you think. As long as you think like them. That's the whole problem with DEI. It emphasizes immutable characteristics, things that really don't matter. Actual things that matter, like diversity of thought, they don't want that. They don't stress that. I mean, the least diverse places are the places that brag about being diverse. Like the newsroom at the New York Times or at MSNBC. They don't have any diversity. No diversity that matters, like diversity of thought. They don't want that. They want everyone to get in line. And you know what the good news is? They're being exposed and they're failing. And right now, people on the left are complaining. Trump hasn't named any black guys or women to his cabinet yet. He's not stressing irrelevant, immutable characteristics. He's looking for the best people. We can't have that. Their argument is, it's incoherent. It makes no sense. Just like on the girls and boys and girls bathrooms. Get AOC ready. AOC, I'll give her credit for this. She goes before the cameras and she makes the incoherent arguments that others don't want to make anymore. No one's listening to this anymore. We talked about the battle on Capitol Hill to keep the new trans congressmen from Delaware out of the girls' room, and they succeeded. Nancy Mace succeeded. The new Sarah McBride, the guy who pretends to be a woman and is now an elected congressman. He gave up. He said he's not going to try to go in the girls' room. But AOC isn't giving up, even though she makes no sense, even though the argument is just senseless. Listen to her and tell you how she's going to continue to fight for girls, which means letting boys in their bathrooms, in their locker rooms. Go ahead.
It's disgusting, and everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds, and everybody should reject it. It's gross. Thank you.
Thank you.
To review, they're endangering girls of all kinds by allowing boys, men, in their bathrooms. How does that endanger girls, AOC, you moron? And what is girls of all kinds? I hate to break it to you, but it's not a very popular position you're taking there, AOC, because there aren't girls of all kinds. There's only one kind, girls, biological girls. And the fight, I'm looking forward to this fight continuing because we are winning. She is losing.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Really complicated there, AOC. There's your explanation. And unfortunately, she didn't stick around to explain how keeping boys out of the girls' room endangers girls. Because it doesn't. Because your argument is stupid and incoherent. And you can keep fighting, but you're going to lose. You're going to lose this one. And just like you're losing on all the cultural issues, we are winning. And it's a wonderful thing to see. All right. Before we go, it's kind of a local story, I guess. A legend. We lost a legend this week in Boston. Larry Johnson, affectionately known as LJ to all his friends, and he had a lot of friends. He passed away early this week at the age of 75. He was a icon in New England. He worked at the Globe as a cartoonist. He worked for ESPN as a cartoonist, and he was on talk radio. And he spent his life in the Boston media and never made an enemy. He was just a terrific guy all around, just a wonderful, big old bear of a man who was the first to reach out to anybody in good times and bad. He was a big fan of talk radio in general, and he had a show, a must-listen show, Mustard and Johnson, every Saturday, and he was a African-American who never dealt in racial grievance. It was refreshing. You didn't know what he was going to say on issues. He wasn't one of these knee-jerk Jamel Hill, Bomani Jones guys that made everything about race. He was more thoughtful. He was smarter than that. And he was just a super guy all around, and he will be missed. R.I.P. to LJ. It's not going to be the same. Not getting a text or a call from LJ. He would call you or me, a text when about anything, about a good column I wrote or a good argument I had on the air, and he was just always listening, always reading, and he was a great cartoonist. There's not many of those left, but he was a great cartoonist. Check him out if you Google him, because for years he was, he was a must listen and a must watch, and you couldn't help but chuckle when you saw his cartoons. He would react to whatever the news of the day is with a great cartoon and just make you smile, and he will be missed. But that will do it for this week. What a wild week. And you know what? It's going to get wilder. This is just going to be so much fun the next 2 months and beyond. And we're waiting, once again, 59 days for the big, whatever it's going to be. Joe Biden's not going to go quietly. We will be here for it. There's going to be something, probably more than one somethings that Joe Biden's going to do to make it difficult for Donald Trump to ascend to the high office once again. But we'll be here for it. But that'll do it for today and for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will talk to you again Monday morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.